Welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. As you know, we've got a new guest with us every week, and this week it is Tom Guinn, our friend from the School of the Osage Activities Director. How's Tom today?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me.
Good, yeah. I was just looking over all of the fall sports that you have going on. I think 7 of them in total, and between that and the activities, well, you've got a lot on your plate. You keep a lot spinning all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, the fall is generally one of the busiest times of year for our school in general, but also especially in the athletic department and activities department. Technically, that is my role, athletics and activities, and we manage all of it, and happy to do that. And like you said, it's we're going fast through August, September, October, and into November as we then spill into basketball and wrestling. So.
Yeah. So, okay, and for the folks that had never really thought about it before, because at one point it was like, oh, what's the difference between athletics and activities? But it's like, you got your sports, but then your activities, band and choir and all those different things too.
Yeah, and our band is actually in the midst of their competition season. So they put together a show, and then they bring it on the road. Their show is typically displayed at halftime of the football games, and Mr. Kyle, our band director, does a phenomenal job. But that same show that they do at halftime, they then go and perform at different venues of the state, and they get scored, and it's held as a competition, and a lot of times we fare very well in those. So. Yeah. It's a portion of my job that I'm proud of, and it's also something that we don't want to be forgotten as part of the high school athletic experience, because without them, a football game feels a little quiet.
Absolutely. And that's one of those things, and I guess a lot of activities might be that way, that they're not really considered a sport, but they are a competition, aren't they? Which is a sport in a way. So.
Absolutely. So some of our other activities, we've got speech, we've got choir, we've got Scholar Bowl, cheer, dance, and some of those compete and some of them don't, but across the board, the majority of them do, and those are all activities that we manage. And again, we're happy to provide those to our kids, because the more participation we can get, the better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information and data out there that shows if a kid is participating in in a sport or an activity, that they perform better in the classroom. So, wow. We try to encourage participation the most that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a real benefit to playing in athletics or being involved in these activities. There's tests prove that this really helps the kids, doesn't it?
Yeah, and not only just strictly academics, I mean, GPA, all of that stuff, but then also with attendance, I think mental health, all of those things. There's a lot of factors where participation in athletics and activities will improve your performance in other areas.
Yeah. And I was always fascinated too when I was in school, which was a long time ago, but the activities and the athletics just brought a certain school spirit, that wasn't there without those things, which is kind of one of the cool things about being involved in school, at whatever level it might be.
Yeah.
And so you kind of drive that at the School of the Osage.
It's a part of my job that I wish I could spend more time with, certainly, if you're talking about PEP. And we have a new student council director this year who also gets her hand in that, and she's done a really great job. We've had 2 different assemblies this year already, and one of them was a fall sport assembly, and she's brought some new ideas to the table that has created some of that. We're having themed nights at some of our athletic events, and she's doing a really nice job to create enthusiasm around our athletic department.
Oh, that's cool. That's so cool. And we were talking just a few seconds ago off the air, the TriCounty Conference going through a bit of a change. Versailles left, joined a different conference. So TriCounty's down to 7 teams now. And there's been some discussion of who might come in and take their place, or if anybody comes in and takes their place, or if you stay at 7. And I think you guys are all trying to figure that out right now, right?
Yeah, well, as a whole, I think the TriCounty Conference is pretty strong. We have a lot of representation through the postseason, where teams from our conference are making deep runs. Blair Oaks is a former football state champion. Southern Boone is always really strong in softball and baseball. We're just right there. Eldon and Blair Oaks both made a run to the volleyball championship last year. So I think we always have a lot of representation. And ourselves, of course. I certainly want to.
You won a state championship.
We
last
won a
year in
state
golf.
championship in golf. So when I visited you for the first time 3 years ago, our school didn't have any state championships in our school history, and now we do, which we're very excited about. And by the way, we've got our whole team back from last year's state championship team.
Wow.
And we're having another just phenomenal season because a lot of those kids are back, and we've got a couple girls who are consistently shooting at par or below. And so we're hopeful that there's a repeat in the mix.
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx us because I am superstitious like that, but we've got a really good shot at doing that. So we're excited about our girls golf team, but in general, the conference, especially last year, and I think historically speaking, has been really strong. But as far as our future goes, right now we're holding strong as a 7-team conference. There's been some conversations about adding an 8th, but there's nothing set in stone yet. And we're waiting for the best candidate to approach us and see if we can make that happen.
It's one of those things, better to be slow and steady than move too fast and make a mistake.
Right.
Absolutely. So it's Tom Guinn. He is the Director of Activities at the School of the Osage. We'll continue to talk with him about all the great stuff going on in Soto land, School of the Osage land, right after this. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center offers 3 OBGYNs at the Osage Beach Clinic and 2 pediatricians with same-day appointments available. At COMC, our doors are open to everyone with 5 primary care locations conveniently located across the Ozarks. COMC for the best medical, dental, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. If it's happening at the lake, it's happening on Lake TV. From the polar plunge to festivals, parades, aquapalooza, and boat shows, Lake TV has it all. Even the granddaddy of them all, the shootouts. If you're looking for places to party, things to do, or even a new home to move into, you've gotta love Lake TV. Welcome back to the COMC and Lake TV Community Spotlight Show. We're getting caught up on what's going on over the School of the Osage. It is Tom Guinn, the Activities Director in charge of athletics and activities. And so the conference going through a bit of a change. We talked about that. Versailles leaving. Somebody may or may not come in and take that 8th spot in the next few years. But you're happy with 7. If there's nobody to step in, you're good with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's desirable to have 8 teams just from a scheduling perspective. You know, if you're hosting a tournament and you have 8 instead of 7, it eases your scheduling quite a bit. You can make brackets and things like that with an even number. And I don't want to say that varsity football drives all of our decisions, but it's certainly helpful when you're formulating a varsity football schedule to have that 8th team. You know, when Versailles left, and full respect to Versailles for making that decision, they had to do what's best for them and their kids. But then we were left to fill a varsity football game on a 1-year cycle, which it gets a little tricky. But we were able to pick up Lutheran South. We'll go there in week 9, which is the last game of our season. And so, not to get into too much detail, and it might be difficult to follow, but your non-conference games in your football schedule, everybody's going to have a different open week. And because of that, most schools get into their conference schedule week 3 through 9. And so if you're left with a week 9 opening, it's tougher to fill than you're at the front half of your, or at the front of your
You're
schedule.
kind of scrambling, looking for somebody.
And so there's some teams in our conference who have a week 6 opening when Versailles left, and that week 6 is where most schools across the state are plugged into their conference scheduling. It just makes it difficult to fill those holes, and it's not just with football, but having that 8th school would be helpful. And you know, we're investigating, and I won't certainly be the final say in what happens with our conference. There'd be a lot of people who help with that decision, other ADs in the conference. most decisions have to have the stamp of approval by a superintendent. So
Sure.
it will take a little time to figure it out, but I'm hopeful as a group we can make things go well in the future.
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's start talking about what's going on right now in the fall season. Seven sports underway, including boys soccer. And last year, I mean, they were just killing it. They were great last year, 18-7, and went into the playoffs and everything. Struggling a little bit this year. That's kind of the life of a high school sport, right? Because you graduate seniors, they go away, and you got a whole new system the next season.
Yeah, they were really fun to watch last year. Won the school's first district championship in boys soccer, and congratulations to Coach Long. He did a great job with that team. He had a lot of talent, and he took advantage of it. And the program took advantage of it. There was a lot of parental involvement and things like that. So, congratulations to our boys soccer team. But he did graduate essentially his whole starting lineup.
Yeah.
And so we flipped the switch. He's got a young team this year. I've been to several games, and they're competing with class, and they're working really hard. And they've just lost a few close games. I think we're right on the edge of kind of turning a corner. And our district looks a lot different this year. They usually send us south into the Springfield area. They sent us a different direction this year, and we haven't seen a lot of district schools this year except for Southern Boone, and I really think we'll be competitive in the postseason. So,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. And soccer is near and dear to your heart because you're a former soccer coach, won 2 straight state championships, so you had a lot of success at that.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing that up. Those are, I enjoy soccer, but having this position, and I'm in my 6th year as an AD, I've grown to enjoy all of them really, and I don't think you can have any bias when you're in this role. So everything from wrestling to soccer, to football, to volleyball, I just try to appreciate all of them and support all of them the best that I can.
Yeah, and do a good job at it. You've also got girls tennis underway. They're about 500 as we speak, not doing too bad. Softball has really taken a leap forward. They were 0-16 last year, having a pretty good year this year. So that's a great turnaround there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy for Coach Dickerson, who was in year 1 as a head coach, a former All-American.
Wow.
So really knows the game and knows her stuff, and she sunk everything she had into that program from the beginning. It still is, obviously. But so knowing everything that she puts into it and what she brings to the table for our program, watching them go through the season they had last year was hard. But we've turned the corner.
Yeah.
We've had a group of freshmen come in that have really helped with our pitching staff. We made some adjustments in our schedule, which really helped. And now we're off to a 4-2 start, and we're really excited for her and the softball program. They'll go to Eldon tonight, which is our rival, and I think they'll perform well there.
Absolutely. That's cool. Very cool when you see those turnaround years. Also happening right now, cross-country boys and girls, and very strong program at the School of the Osage. Girls golf, as we mentioned earlier, they won the state championship last year.
Yeah.
First championship in school history.
It is, yeah. And like I said, those girls have just picked up where they left off. We won the Laker Invitational, which is right here in town, and there's some large schools there, some highly competitive schools at that tournament, and we took first place. Then similar environment at the Helias tournament at Meadow Lake Country Club, and we ended up taking second there. We finished behind Father Tolton, who had a girl I think shoot 6 under or something outrageous like that. So we're hopeful that we might see some more fireworks this postseason with that program.
That is exciting. Okay, so we're out of time, but real quickly, folks can get more information on School of the Osage where?
You're going to want to go to our fan plan at our website. But before I continue about the fan plan, if I left any program or activity out, it's because we ran out of time. There's just so much to talk about. But I get carried away, and I do appreciate all our programs. If I left anyone out, I'm sorry. But the fan plan is on our website. It's a live schedule. Reference it, use it. We spend a lot of time with it to help you.
Absolutely. And the teams we left out, volleyball and football, which are doing great anyway, so keep it up. Thank you, Tom. We appreciate your coming by. Look forward to the next time.
All right, thank you.
You bet. And thank you for joining us for Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.